All right, so we are going to do yin practice this morning, mostly focused in the upper body, so shoulders, chest. I like to practice yin with a blanket on my mat. You're welcome to put a blanket down. You don't have to. We're going to start with a roll-up chest opener, so you can do that or grab your blocks for the fish shape. So the intention being that we're opening the upper body today. Of course, the body's all connected, so we'll bring in the lower body a little bit. But starting with that scap trap shape, you can roll if you have a second blanket. You can roll that or use your blocks. I also realized that starting neutral might be nice before you join this first shape, so you're welcome to that as well. All right, so take a few moments to settle in. Catch whatever prop you're using across the upper back. And then since we're, not doing a ton in the hips today, you could sneak in a few shapes where the hips do get a little bit of attention outside of just a neutral position. So you could consider the bottoms of the feet together, knees wide. You could consider no stretching and just do like long legs, maybe bent knees. So starting here to start to open the chest, create space in the heart and lungs. And so begin to, once you're still, begin to feel your shape. Taking some time to prepare for your practice this morning, or whenever you do your recording, to just see how you're feeling, see where you can soften. And then because we, guess an hour, it's a good challenge for me to get used to teaching 60 minutes. But we only have an hour plus the focus of today being a little bit more yin, low to the ground. The importance of bringing the breath into some of our shapes today will probably be pretty useful. So we'll associate the practice, even though it is yin, with the prana vayu. So prana vayu is the first of the 5 vayus, and it's the associated anatomical marker is the head, and the chest, and the shoulders, the arms. So essentially like the upper body. And so as we practice, I'll encourage you to maybe just breathe naturally, normally, if that serves you best. Or as you get into our shapes, even here, can you make the inhale just a little bit bigger, fuller, spacious? And then the exhale is the piece that's a little bit more passive. I know that's a bit counterintuitive to like the intention of yin, but I'd encourage you to think about the prana vayu as really just helping you create space in some of these sticky places. And so perhaps the next time you inhale in your first shape here, you can bring that breath into the upper lungs, upper chest, ribs, shoulders. And then the exhales nice and smooth and easy out. Let's take a few more breaths here. If you're prone to a chatty mind, I'll encourage you to come back to your breath or come back to the idea of pranavayu, perhaps feeling of pranavayu. So seeing what you can do to just gently keep your awareness right on your shape. Let's take a final breath here. If you've got your legs in the butterfly shape, you can bring those knees up for a moment. And then carefully sit up or just roll off your props. So we'll ditch those for a moment. You just move them out of the way. And then come back to your back. And just pause for a moment. Knees can be bent, more neutral pelvis. And then from here, you'll tuck your chin and pick your head up a little bit. Slide your right hand behind the skull and then just lay down on the right palm. So your right elbow's kind of like wide to the side. Just take a moment to feel the right armpit chest, the right, maybe into the side waist here, right ribs. And then of course the increase is available if you want it. So you just tuck your chin, lift again and slide your right hand maybe more towards like the base of the skull, the nape of the neck, and maybe you can get more of your right lower arm pinned underneath your body. So your fingertips point down toward your tail and your palm is like on your body somewhere. Use the weight of your body to land. And then once you've got the upper arm situated, if your knees are bent here, you can kind of tip a little to the right. Take the left arm down by the side, palm on the floor. And then this arm, if you want to start small, just kind of slides into the natural curve of your lumbar. Maybe not touching a whole lot of your spine, maybe a little bit, and then you can roll your knees back. So we've got some rotation in the shoulders to start. And of course, the intensity being that like someday you could clasp your fingers, like Gomukhasana. So of course, if you want to tip to the right and walk this left arm up a little more. So just kind of coming slowly into the depth of your pose, using the body to help us create space. And just do whatever feels best in your legs. You can stretch long, you could go to the butterfly shape again. Let's see about putting your body into the shape. Become still and as soft as you can in the shape, and then put your breath into it. If any tension sneaks its way in or your jaw starts to tighten, see what you can do to bring back some ease. The mind does a little journey elsewhere, give a little nudge back to your breath, back to your shape. We'll take just another minute here in the Supta Gomukhasana. After your next breath or two, you can lean to the right with the legs. Peel your left arm out and then just back out a little bit of this right arm. So maybe return to like just scooping the skull with the palm. And then keep your pelvis where it is, but walk your feet to the left and start to side bend in the lower body. So you'll stretch your legs long. Maybe hook an ankle on an ankle down there. Try to anchor this right hip a bit. And then your right palm can still hold the skull. You'll just do a little slide, scoop over to the left. So there's some side bend in the upper body as well. And if you don't like the head on the hand, you can let go of that and just do like a loose O shape. If you really liked the Gomukhasana shape, you could actually stay a little more pinned. So I'll leave it up to you for that right shoulder. And then allow for the right side to get a little space here. Keep the right half of your pelvis level with the left. And then if it feels okay on the neck, I like to drop the head to the right, but see what feels okay there. Try to make this more about the right side and the right shoulder and less about the low back. And so we want to keep just a gentle knit of the navel towards the spine, especially if you're really bendy there. All right, couple breaths, banana pose. About another minute or so here. See where you can soften a bit, maybe release a little more on the right side. If that pranavayu breath helps, you can bring that in, brush the whole right side with your breath. At the bottom of the next breath or two, you can clear your right arm out from under the head or from under its tucked position if it's still there. And just start to bring the head back, upper body back. Probably feels real nice to set that right arm down by the side eventually. Bring your legs back and just pause for a moment in the middle. And then you can bend your knees and we'll switch to the other side. So you'll start with just a gentle scoop of the skull with your left palm. So pick the head up and let that left elbow wing wide to the left. So take a few moments to feel the left armpit, chest, sideways, shoulder. And that could be a good stage for several minutes before you deepen for sure. If you decide you want more, body's cool with more, you can tuck your chin and start to work this left arm down the base of the skull, nape of the neck, maybe into the upper back, depending on the range available. Palms face the spine, and you've got your weight. Eventually, head drops back down on the lower arm. So Gomukhasana, left arm on top. Once you're set there, you can tip your knees to the left. Keep that right arm down by the side, bend the elbow and sneak the right hand into the natural curve of the spine there. So just take a moment to feel that internal rotation for the right shoulder. And same thing there, if you want more, you just tip left, maybe work the right hand more up the spine so you pin more of that right lower arm underneath you. Ooh, okay, that's a much more potent side. So breathe into your shape once you're set. That helps to bring the prana vayu into the space of the upper body. Trying to create a little more expansion. And certainly revisit that. And the legs are your call here. Let's land for a little bit. Last minute or so here, where can you stay soft? Keep everything as tension free as you can. Bottom of the next breath or two, just carefully bend the knees, tip to the left, slide that right arm out of there. And then you can back off in the left arm and just return to sort of that scooped skull left palm shape for a beat. And then your feet walk to the right this time. So scoot the lower body over to the right, keep your pelvis in the center, and then slide your legs long for the banana shape. So ankle on an ankle, you like to hook and root there. On this side, it'll be the left hip that we want to try to keep down. You might catch a little space up through the outer left hip there. And then when you're set in your lower body, you can do a little shimmy side bend over to the right with your upper body. Right hand can reach down towards your feet. You can put your right hand on your belly, and then your left hand, if you like the scoop behind the head feeling, you could keep that or just let go of that and do more of like a loose O shape. Keeping again the pelvis level, little navel to spine if your low back is wanting to participate here. And then maybe the head does a little drop to the left. And then feel into the left side, feel into your breath. About another minute or so in the banana shape. See where you can put a little more breath. Direct your awareness, attention to softening any places of remaining tension. The bottom of the next breath or two, you can start your journey back to the center. So bring the head back, move the upper body back, and move your legs back. So come to just a neutral spine. You can rest your hands on your belly, take a breath there. And then grab one of your blocks. And slip that block, bend your knees and slip it under the pelvis for the supported bridge. Just a low one to start. So the weight of the sacrum lands on a horizontal block. And then you're welcome to do like a wider set leg position if you want. That usually feels better here for my body. Feet wide, knees wide. And then once you're set in the lower body, grab the sides of your yoga mat with your hands down by the legs there. And do just the babyest little tuck in your shoulder blades. So start to retract shoulder blades together. We're gonna do a couple of additional settings. So this first one can be kind of tiny. And then once you've done a little tuck of the shoulder blades, then release and spin your palms to face up. We'll take about a minute in each setting here. Feel how that shoulder blade tuck towards the spine maybe gives you more in the pec, upper chest. A couple of breaths here. And if this is pretty good and you prefer this first setting, you can stay here, or you can untuck the shoulders for a moment, let that upper back spread wide. Grab your block and flip it to the second setting. So get the hips up a little bit more. You can still run the block horizontally, but now it's on its skinnier side. And then same thing, once you're set there, grab the sides of the mat and tuck, maybe tuck, a little more, shoulder blades underneath you. So the bridge shape in the chest becomes just a little bigger. And of course, if it's too much, you back off. When you've got the tuck you want, you can spin your palms to face up. Let the weight of the body be held by the pelvis. And really like your arms and the squeeze of your shoulder blades here. Last breath here, see how you're feeling. This is serving you well. Maybe you stay in option 2, or you untuck shoulder blades, give the upper back a moment to spread. Grab your block, push into your feet, and maybe the hips go high. So we do the short side block, but tall. It's a pretty big bridge. So if it's too much in the hips, I would maybe revisit that second setting. And then you've got a couple options on this third round if you went for the skinnier tall block here. You still could do the grab of the mat and tuck shoulder blades to the degree that feels safe. Spread your chest, thinking about moving the chest more towards the chin and less about like shoving your chin towards your chest. That's an option. Or if you have the range, since we've been, working the shape towards the Baddha Hastasana, you could interlace your hands around your block on the side that is towards your heels. That's a tall order. So again, if it's just like not safe, then back off to a setting that is. Allow the block to hold you and enjoy the spaciousness, the prana that's available in the chest here from the shape. Just a minute or so, last little bit of our bridge work. Bottom of the next breath or two, don't let me rush you. You've got your hands clasped, you can undo that carefully. Do a little untuck of the shoulders, lift your hips, get your block out of there. And then entirely release those shoulders, spread the upper back. Take a moment to just stretch out long. Feel the effects of your work so far, feel your breath. And then you can bend your knees. And we'll roll to the right side. So roll onto your right for a moment. You can stack your knees just loosely left on right. And then keep your legs there. And start to rotate yourself more. So we're coming into a twist. Now I'll give you a couple of options here. If you want to stick with more like more active belly down twist, you could do like Sphinx in your upper body maybe for a little bit. You could entertain the idea of doing that with a block under the forehead with a little bit more yin. You could also just not stay up at all and poke the elbows out to the sides and rest the head on the backs of the hands. So we've got several minutes here, 4 or 5 minutes. So want to get a little twist in for the spine, and then you're in charge of like upright for a few minutes, maybe upright but head resting, maybe full belly down twist. So you choose. Get into the shape, and then start to get right into your breath. Last minute here, and stay with your breath. Bottom of the next breath or two. If you're low in your twist, you can start to journey yourself up. And just roll back through your right side. Take a moment to pause on the side. Let that be sort of your neutralizing point. And then you'll just roll to your back and roll to the left. And take a moment to pause on the left side. You can stack the knees loosely, right on left. And then start to rotate more. So you'll twist right ribs towards the floor, left ribs to the left side of your yoga mat, and maybe prop up into a twisted sphinx. Maybe that's where you decide to start. You've got maybe some potential block support, so depending on what feels safe in your spine. There is just an increase in the intensity of the shape, of course, when we've got, in this case, flexion or extension rather, and rotation. So do what feels safe, but also gives you that nice churn of the belly from the right to the left. You can stay more upright. You can rest your head on a block. You can lower down to a full belly down twist so the upper body has a little break. Put your breath right into the twist here. And then enjoy the practice of yoga at home. In this case, with the parents' dog barking at something, so if they get really bad, I'll mute, but hopefully they'll go outside. The last couple of breaths on this side, stay with it. Bottom of the next breath or two, you can start to work your way up and out of your twist. And back through your left side for just a moment, so we'll pause there. And then you can roll fully to your belly. And grab one of your blocks if you would like it, so Sphinx pose. And you have the choice here for how deep the shape is. So the closer your elbows are to your ribs, the more intense the shape back bend will be. And you can spend a little bit of time more in the upright Sphinx. So forearms down, chest up, shoulders down the back. Stretch the belly a little bit, draw the back of the heart in and up. And you could stay here for a little bit of this or all of it. The journey then eventually, if you want, start to bow forward, maybe head to block. But again, just choose like what's best for you today. About 3 minutes here. We're well on our way, so find your breath. Last minute here. Bottom of the next breath or two, if your head's down, you can start to lift back up. Move your block. And then just slide your hands by your chest. We'll press up from the belly here. And you could take the child's pose if you want to, or just sit for a second. All right, next shape. So we're gonna progress these last 3, I suppose, as our final work. So your first go is the Anahata variation. So the 2 blocks, if you have 2, you're gonna put them together on their second sides, short edges together. And then I think most of you know this, you'll put your elbows on those blocks and walk your knees back so that your knees are right underneath your hips. Elbows to blocks, palms together. And then you want the draping to be head between elbows and eventually behind the blocks. Your head may or may not come to the floor, and that's okay. But see what you can do to keep some pressure. Even though this is yin, you can do a little more letting go, but if you're extra flexy, the pressure of the elbows down into the blocks. And just keep those shoulder stabilizing muscles a little safer. Maybe your head comes to the floor, maybe it does not. And then again, we want this to be about the chest. So if your low back has started to do an over anterior tilt in the pelvis and the cow shape in your back, you're gonna wanna rein in your navel just a little bit. Palms can stay together, straight up above the elbows, or you could play with like thumbs to the spine. That might bring in more. Put your breath into it. You've got thumbs to spine and you like it, you can stay there. I like to do another setting with the palms back up above the elbows and do just the finger pads together like I'm holding a glass ball. That one's pretty good, but see what you like here. A couple more breaths if you can. Draw your navel a little bit up. And then revisit your starting position, palms together, right up over the elbows. Go slow. Lift your head as you're ready and start to scoot. Lift. And you can just have a seat in the Vajrasana when you're up there, maybe sit on a block if you need to. Ooh, take a moment to stack up your spine, release, relax the tops of the shoulders, chest. Okay, so then the next round is the actual Anahatasana. So you'll set the same. You want your hips right over your knees. You might want a block close by, so that you have a place to put your head if you know that it does not come to the floor easily. And then you set up for what looks like down dog. So stretch your hands towards the top of your yoga mat. If you need a little gripping, this blanket might make it hard, so you can always peel your blanket back to push down and forward with your hands. Keep your hips above your knees, a little bit of engagement in the arms as you start to make your descent. Thinking more chest to floor, and it can be a slow journey, so take your time. Does require maybe a little more action effort because the arms are having to bear some of our weight here. And I'll encourage you to put your head on something, so I'm going to opt for just a block. You're welcome to, of course, go lower if it's safer. And just like the previous prep, you want to keep your navel up. And stretch your chest. A little bit of pressure of the arms. So push down and forward. Take some big breaths here. Flood the upper body with some of your prana vayu. You can do a little wrapping of the upper arm bones externally. So spread the upper back wide, wide, wide. Last couple breaths here. Take your time, don't rush. So lift yourself up and out of there. And scoot your knees a little bit forward, and once again, just sit Vajrasana. Thunderbolt shape, stack up your spine and relax the upper body, tops of the shoulders. And then our last shape hopefully won't feel quite so difficult because we've been in this previous shape a couple times. So you'll take your block and probably put it on its flat or second side under your belly, more or less, like right underneath like your belly button. That's a good measure. You might have to adjust it here shortly. And then maybe peel back your blanket so you can plant your hands just like we did. You're gonna slip slide or you have socks on, you might have to move your lower blanket too. To tuck your toes, lift your knees, lift your hips, and then when you land, hopefully the head height here connects right with that block. Make this more about the chest towards the thighs in your down dog. And I would encourage you to put the head on something so that the front brain rests more yin-like. You're welcome to sort of like pedal out a little bit. This is a nice release for the legs too. Put a more grounded downward dog. Giving yourself time here to focus on the chest. For the last few breaths here towards the thighs. Firm a little bit your arms. Breathe deeply. When you've had enough of that, lower back to your knees, and one final time, just have a seat on your heels. Relax the hands to the legs, and take a breath or two. And then you can make your way back to your back. So if you still have that second blanket roll, maybe keep him close. And flip around to supine. You're welcome to, of course, bring your blocks in here as well. Let's take a moment to land. Knees bent. And then I would just take a moment to feel. So there's likely some energy around the upper body here. And so check in with the feel of the chest and the arms, the shoulders. And maybe you just need to pause before you Shavasana, or maybe you need like some windshield wipers or another twist. Maybe you just need like a little squeeze, knees to chest. So really just whatever feels like will bring you back to more balance, what will prepare you to rest for a few minutes. And probably something that is, less, asking less of the upper body. We didn't do a lot of shoulder blade protraction, and so you could do a couple forearms, swipe side to side, that could be nice. And focus more on the shoulder blade retraction and some external rotation for the shoulders. So when you're ready, the next shape is the Shavasana. You can slide your blanket roll underneath your knees for some support if you would like. The pentacle pose, you kind of stretch out like a starfish, is the yin Shavasana. You're welcome to do that. And when you're ready to rest, drop into stillness. And enjoy a couple minutes here of quiet. So if you are resting well and want to stay, please feel free to do that. Shavasana a little longer. If you're ready for some fuller breaths, some movement, you can start some of that shifting as you're ready. Just take your time to make your way from your back to your side and from your side to a seat. Bring yourself to sit on something to support a little bit of lift. Keep your eyes soft and stack up your bones when you arrive in your seat. And particularly here, feel the effects of the purposeful work in the upper body, shoulders, chest, and the effects of your prana vayu. So my hope is that even though this is yin, there's a sense of energy. The prana vayu is typically with that inhale. And so we can take the day with a little more maybe energy, a little more heart space, even though we had more of a quiet practice today. And so in closing, in gratitude to your practice, you can join your palms and make a small bow, head to hands. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate that. Thanks everybody else on recording, and have the best week. I'll see you soon.